Sunshine Tenasco, who's the founder of Pow Wow Pitch. So Sunshine is an entrepreneur and a First Nations mommy of 4 kids. She is a social entrepreneur and author who believes that business is an exciting place where people can create positive change. Sunshine launched a business called Her Braids in 2015, which is a business that aims to create awareness about the issues of clean drinking water in First Nations communities through beaded pendants, workshops, and her children's book, Nibi's Water Song. Her Braids has committed to donating 10% of their profits to the David Suzuki Foundation's The Blue Dot Movement. She's also the CEO of Pow Wow Pitch, which aims to give Indigenous entrepreneurs the platform to showcase their entrepreneurial endeavors and a chance to win startup cash and mentorship. Sunshine hopes to help cultivate the culture of entrepreneurship in Indigenous communities. Welcome, Sunshine.
I'm happy to be here tonight.
Awesome. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what you're up to.
Yeah, so lately I've been focusing a lot of my time on Pow Wow Pitch. And Pow Wow Pitch is basically like the Dragon's Den, but on speed, but for specifically Indigenous entrepreneurs. And it sort of started out for funsies, and it's now we're now in our 7th year, and it's for realsies now, and it's a legit business, and it has been for a couple of years. And so I'll just briefly talk about, I guess, why I started Pow Wow Pitch. It's I stumbled onto entrepreneurship, as most of us have, because I made baby moccasins. And I was known in the Pow Wow circuit as the baby moccasin lady. And I, on a whim, for funsies, took them to Dragon's Den, and that completely changed my whole life's path, my whole life's course. I was supposed to be a high school teacher. That was the plan, and then it just really took a different direction when I went on Dragon's Den and felt really empowered. Even though that business failed, not once but twice, I had to close it down. But that was. That's where the whole love for entrepreneurship began.
Yeah. So that's exciting. So please tell us about that. I mean, one of the things that I find interesting is that people do not talk about the failures. People, we only hear the success stories, people who have made a lot of money or what have you. But people fail to realize there are a lot of challenges. You face a lot of failures. And it's good to know about that. So it's great that you're sharing that. How did that happen? How did you find the courage to sort of get up again and keep going even after 2 failures? So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I mean, people say, what would you have gone back and changed or do different? I wouldn't do anything different. I learned so many lessons, probably the hard way, but that's how we have to learn things. And so when I started my second and third business, which were both really at the same time, I was like, hey, so I'm not doing this because this didn't work. These are my boundaries. This is how I want to create my business. This is how I want to run my business. And really, it's how I want to run my life. Because with Quentin, I learned I overworked myself. I was, my business ran me. And so the second time around, it's like, so this is what I am going to do. And this is what I'm not going to do. I know how to do this now. I know how to do this. I know I can't do it alone. So I think that's how you have to look at it. And I think entrepreneurs, that's our special gift, is that we take those failures and, okay, what did I learn about myself and how do I do this going forward? Because there's always these crazy ideas. It's just a matter of going for it.
Yeah. No, that is a very, very valid point, that, if we take these challenges and failures as just lessons, it just improves us. And that is how we all learn, whether that's business and life. And another thing that I really found it insightful was you said that you want to run your life and business, because a lot of people think business and life is separate, but really for entrepreneurs, there's no separation. It's a continuum of the same thing, and just letting it and sort of shaping it the way that you want it, that is the right way to go. Now, one thing I find interesting is that you launched three businesses altogether. That brings a huge challenge in itself. So how did you decide that, and how did you overcome like running three separate businesses at the same time? Like how was that experience like for you?
Well, so I don't run Kwemi's my first business anymore. That's
Okay.
sort of like, okay, I couldn't figure out the numbers ever.
Okay.
And so it was just a whole process. And then so what happened was I was working with Indigenous women entrepreneurs, and because Dragon's Den really shaped who I am. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. When I started my baby moccasin company, I went to the economic development officer in my community, and she just, she had never started a business. She didn't know what it took, but she was in that role. And I was like, I could see these baby moccasins in all the fancy stores. Like, what if we did this and you could help and all this and that? And she just said, everybody makes baby moccasins, go home and get ready for the craft fair, and refused to help me. And I was, what? That's ridiculous. And then fast forward, when the Dragon said, we can see this on baby stores everywhere, that sort of justified what I was already feeling. And I knew, sometimes things in your bones, and not everyone's going to see what you see.
Yeah.
And so having these two dragons believe in me, fast forward, I wanted to recreate that for Indigenous entrepreneurs, because we don't see a lot of Indigenous entrepreneurs on anywhere, really. Representation matters. And so I just said, I'm going to make this Pow Wow Pitch, this pitch competition. And it was, I got fired for it from the job that I was doing because I believed in it so much. And so I went ahead and thank goodness that happened, because now, it belongs to me and it's my project. And it's not with the organization that I originally wanted to start it with. And then, and that's pretty much how it started, was to have this platform for entrepreneurs.
That's great. So it seems like it is reinforcing the same story sort of insights that we are getting from other entrepreneurs, is that first thing is self-belief, finding out exactly what you're passionate about. And even if people, say this is not going to work, you need to be persistent and go talk to other people who may believe in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one other thing which I really find interesting about your story is putting the name out there, because a lot of people are afraid to go out there and put the name out there, thinking that this may not work, or people may laugh at it. But you went out there, and not just went out there, you went out all the way to Dragon's Den, which is a national platform. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that come about? How did you actually find your way into that Dragon's Den? And were there any doubts that you had when you entered that Dragon's Den?
Yeah. So it's always life is the thing that creates doubt, right? It's not maybe the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's yourself. And so I said, okay, I was very pregnant with my third child at the time. And I was 6 days before having him. And I seen that there was an audition in Montreal. So I said, I'm going to audition, because who the hell is going to say no to a big fat pregnant lady? Good luck with that. And so I went there with my little Ziploc from the dollar store bags. And I said, I want to create better packaging, and this is what I want to do, and whatever. And they said, clearly you're very pregnant. Normally we don't tell people on the spot, like you're going to pass through to meet the dragons, but we need to time this because of your belly. And so they put me in the last whatever taping of Dragon's Den. But what had happened 6 days later was life-changing for me, because my son was born. He was born with Down syndrome and cerebral palsy, both of which are completely different. So he's one in a gazillion, billion, trillion. Like, he's a freaking superstar, this guy. But anyone who's had, first of all, when you're postpartum, that's one thing. You're gushing and leaking and emotional and all of that stuff. But when you have a baby needs, that is life altering, especially to deal with it. So going on Dragon's Den, yes, changed my life, but it was also to prove something to myself, because I made a commitment to myself, and I was going to go and do this despite or in spite or just to say that I can do it. And so I took my son onto the show with me. And
Oh, wow.
so that's part of the reason that it was life-changing for me. Yes, I got a deal. And there was so many moments in that day that I'm like, that stick with me forever. And I forget everything. I can't remember anything, but that day in particular, making that decision, I said I was going to do it. I am doing it, period, end of story, regardless of the outcome. So, and then that was it. And I went Meet the Dragons and got a deal, and the relationships and the outcome of that was just amazing. And, they told me, be prepared. And I prepared for months making baby moccasins. And the minute it aired, it was just boom, 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 back to back. And I was sold out by midnight. It was a wild ride. And I try and get all the Indigenous entrepreneurs I work with, go pitch, whether you get a deal or you don't, the process of doing it. And that's what we hope Pow Wow Pitch is to take these entrepreneurs, fill them with so much hope, fill them with some skills, some this, some that, and then say, go to the big leagues and go on Dragon's Den now.
Absolutely. No, that's very inspiring. I mean, it takes a lot of effort, but as you said, like, once you really are determined that you're going to do it no matter what, nothing can stop you. And I think that is the fundamental foundation of success for any entrepreneur. No matter how crazy the goal seems to be, if you just decide you're going to do it, doors open up automatically. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And wow, I mean, like, doing that while you were like pregnant almost, like 6 days before that. That's just amazing. So another question from the audience is, what are your next steps for Pow Wow Pitch, and how many Indigenous entrepreneurs are you funding?
Yeah, so how Pow Wow Pitch started was just at the local powwow in Ottawa, and it's a big powwow, and they would come on stage, pitch for 60 seconds, get mentored for 3 hours, pitch for 3 minutes. I get to give them money. That was it. And then we decided, okay, it's time to grow, and we're going to take it national because, not everybody can fly to Ottawa and be present. And then COVID hit. So we went online. Oh my God, what a shit show, and a very different business model than just showing up and running an event. Yeah. And I have no skills. Like, I was like, how do I get on this call? Like, it's still ridiculous. And so it was just attracting the right people. So we took it across Canada. And then this year we took it across Canada. We went Turtle Island. So we just started going into the States. But this in 2022, we're going to have a hybrid model. So I'm super excited about that, because the Pow Wow Pitch at a powwow is like so exciting. It's so powerful for not just the pitchers, but the pitchers, the judges, the mentors, everybody. So we're going to do 5 of the biggest powwows in Canada and the States. And then we're also going to do the hybrid model and follow it up with, bigger boot camps and more mentorship and more Pow Wow Pitch boxes, which were super successful. And we're very happy about being able to, everybody who participated in Pow Wow Pitch to get their products in everybody's hands. So that was something that we're really excited about.
Amazing work you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing that and being with us here, and keep doing what you're doing.